All right, for this particular section, we'll cover questions 6, 7, and 8. Here in question 6, it says, refer to your answers in items 5 and 7 in lesson 25-1 and items 1 and 3 of this lesson to complete the following table. Item 5 looked like this from the previous lesson. It says, item 5, what was the measure of arc JQ? Well, in item 5, I said that was 130 degrees. It then asked, what was the measure of angle JCQ? JCQ. That was the central angle, so that was also 130 degrees. All right, the angle of JRQ is 65 degrees. That's an inscribed angle. It goes back to this concept of any inscribed angles will be half the measure of the other angle. Let's take a look at the measure of JQ, arc JQ, in item 7 was 135 degrees. Looking at item 7, this measure of this arc was 135. It asks, what is the measure of JCQ? JCQ is 90 degrees plus 45, which is 135 as well. And JRQ, this angle is 67.5. JL. JL's arc is 90 degrees. The measure of JCL is also a right angle because it's formed by two perpendicular lines. JRL. The measure of angle JRL was 45 degrees. All right, items 1 and 3 in this particular lesson. 1 and 3 in this particular lesson, arc AB was 40 degrees. Angle AOB was also 40 degrees. And the measure of angle APB, which was an inscribed angle, was 20 degrees. Let's take a look at number 7. It says, based upon your patterns that you see in the table above, write a conjecture about the relationship between the measure of an inscribed angle and the measure of the central angle that intercepts the angle. If we look, our inscribed angle is always half the distance or half the measure of our central angles. So the inscribed angle is 1/2 the measure of the central angle. Or half the measure of the arc. Oops. I should have put intercepted arc. Let's take a look at 8. 8 says, given circle C with diameter AR and the measure of angle HCA to be 50, find each of the following. The measure of HIA. So what's the measure of this angle? HCR. What's the measure of this angle? This is B. This is A. The measure of HIR. This is letter C. And AIR. This is D. All the way across is D. And then write a conjecture about inscribed angles and the diameter. Okay, I know that this is 50 degrees, right? HCA, that's what they gave me. This arc is 50 degrees because this angle measure is 50 degrees. Well, I want to know HIA. Well, HIA is an inscribed angle, so it should be equal to half of HA. So that would be 25 degrees. HCR, right here, that is the other half of a diameter, so we would take 180 minus the 50 we already know, and that equals 130 degrees. HIR is going to be another inscribed angle, which equals half the distance of HR. Well, if HR is 130, because that's a central, half of that is 65. What's the measure of angle AIR? Well, if this is 25 and this is 65, it gives me 90 degrees. It says, write a conjecture about inscribed angles and the diameter of a circle. We know the diameter of a circle is 180 degrees, and an inscribed angle should be half of that. So inscribed angle on a diameter is 90 degrees, which is a right angle. On to the next set of questions.